Hello Safer and Future Safer, my name is Priya. Welcome to my video. The reason I'm making this video to help someone out there to get motivated, to get started, to let them know what is there in chapter 7 of Fundamentals of Instruction, the Aviation Instruction Handbook, to give you basic knowledge. If that motivates you, you can go ahead and read the Aviation Instruction Handbook, which is really good for the knowledge. So let's get started. So today's topic of Fundamental of Instruction is Task E, Instructors, Responsibilities and Professionalism. So if it tells you what are your responsibilities and what professionalism really means as an aviation instructor, we have a lot of responsibilities. I will take you few which are given in PTS. I wrote it in the board. I know it's not clear, I'm sorry. I'm not professional video maker. I'm just trying if there's even one person who gets some help. Okay, so let's start. So the aviation instructor's responsibility is help student to learn. We learned in chapter 2 that learning happens when there is a change in behavior, and we cannot force anybody to learn. We should motivate student to learn. So as an aviation instructor, we should help student learn by motivation. We should make the learning enjoyable. We should encourage them to learn. We should also try to know their students' background, and if they have any obstacles in learning, we should help them to overcome that obstacle so the learning can happen. So that is our number one responsibility, is help student to learn. Second one is provide adequate instruction. Your teaching technique might work for one student but may not work for the other student, because two individuals are different. So we as an instructor, we need to tailor our teaching technique as per the need of the instruction, need of the student. So some students are fast learners, some students are not. So some students need extra motivation, some students need, we probably, to encourage, you should start with the sub goals, not sub standards but sub goals to achieve it, and then that will help them encourage. The third one now is standards and performance. So what are the standards and performance? Is from day one you should always emphasize the required standard. We should not go on substandards. For example, we always put flap in white arc. We should never not operate flaps outside the white arc, and we should tell the consequences of not operating flaps on the white arc. So even you are not on the board, student will try to follow the standards, and because he knows the consequences. So as an aviation instructor, you should always ask for the correct standards and not substandard standards. That's your responsibility to make them safe pilot. And the PTS standards can be told just for the check ride, just when we prepare for the check ride 3 hours ground session. That time you can tell them for the passing standard, but following the standard, the consequence and emphasizing will always be the priority of instructor to make students safer. After that, we need to minimize students' frustration. Aviation can be frustrating, learning can be frustrating, being a pilot, the weather, availability of the aircraft, maintenance, there are a lot of things. But as an instructor, how you help minimizing the frustration? Number one, we need to motivate the student, we need to encourage student, we need to give praise when there is due. We also be consistent in what we are asking. We should not ask something, we should not accept something one day and next day it's not acceptable. So student try really hard to impress instructor, and then he will get confused that I don't know what I'm doing, and that will just add up to his frustration. Third one, for a student, we should encourage them. We should not, if we make error, we should tell student that we made error. Don't bluff them, be honest, inform where they stand, or inform their this word is keep student informed. keep student informed all the time, be consistent, be motivate them, and that's how we minimize their frustration. Then, what are flight instructor responsibilities? Okay, like when we're in the flight, we have a lot of other we responsibility to make students safe, to keep them safe, make him a safe pilot. So, as an instructor, before even we teach them, we should understand there are some obstacles in learning flight lesson. Um, this is the physiological obstacles of flight lesson, and those are. It is just we need to understand this is a small aeroplane. A student might not be comfortable in small aeroplane, might not be comfortable for the engine noise or G forces while associated with landing and takeoff and maneuvers. Motion sickness. As an instructor, we should help them overcome this obstacle, the physiological obstacle. The second one, as ensuring student ability. We are the only one. We know when students are ready, if they're not ready, because we spend a lot of time with students. So before signing up for the student, we need to make sure the student is performing safely, and he has the skill what we need, from starting from pre-flight, starting engine to shutting down the engine. He's following all the process, following the checklist. He has full control on the airplane. He can communicate, talk, navigate. He know what emergency procedures are. He's aware about stall awareness, spin awareness. He's independent. He doesn't need your guidance. He can make aeronautical decision making, and if required, he can take help from the ATC. And he's doing all that consistently without your help, not just this 1 day 2 day, but you have complete confidence in your student that he is independent of you. So this is our responsibility to make sure student is safe. Also, FA has given a lot of special emphasis areas. So as an instructor, we need to make sure we look at the special emphasis area in advisory circular, and some of them are which are not limited, but I'll read about it. Is student have positive aircraft control, procedure for positive exchange of flight control, stall and spill awareness, collision avoidance, wake turbulence and low level wake turbulence, and wind shear turbulence avoidance, runway incursion avoidance, control flight in terrain, aeronautical decision making and risk management, use of checklist, special disorientation, TFR, aviation security, and special use airspace. So as an instructor, we need to make sure we emphasize on these areas. Okay. So the next one is professionalism. Okay. So as an FA also says instructor has to be professional, which makes sense. But what points are there? So instructor should be sincere. What sincere means? That will not try to show off our knowledge. We need to come down to students' level and tell them in a simple language and teach them. Don't try to just be a Superman or hero in front of him, but come to their level and help them achieve the knowledge and build up. So that is professionalism. Don't intimidate student. Second is accept the student. Student can come from any background. Their knowledge, their experience might be different. They come with their own weaknesses. So accept the student with their weaknesses. Make it a mutual goal for you and your student to achieve the goal. Communicate. Don't ridicule student. Do not upset or don't talk negative. Just accept the student. The third one is your personal appearance. Try to dress properly. Take care of your personal hygiene, body odor, brush your teeth, because it can be distraction while learning the student if you are not maintaining your personal appearance. Then is demeanor. The way your attitude is in public, in front of the student. When you get frustrated, don't start throwing stuff if you're angry. Just be calm. Don't show anger. Be thoughtful about Be professional. Always, you know that the student is following you, a student who is observing you. Then another thing is use of proper language. So, of course, you don't want to use profanity or vulgarity because you're a teacher, you're an instructor, so you want to gain the respect from the student. So try, just be professional. Don't use bad languages. Okay, now that's done. Professional evaluation of the student. So it is our responsibility, right? We need to evaluate. And how do we evaluate? When you evaluate, try to evaluate. When you are evaluating the demonstrated ability, try to just evaluate on demonstrated ability, not on the how the student is or his history or background. Nothing. Just concentrate on particular task. The second is keep student informed. His progress, where we're going, what are the steps, how far we are, how we're going to achieve this goal together. So keeps informed, and when we criticize students, try to tell them how to fix those errors, how to excuse me, how to correct, give them guidance, keep student informed. Third one is when we are doing when we are correcting for the errors. So when you corrected the errors, it is important to correct, okay? But if safety provides, let student do error and find out the way to come out of it, okay? But also, you should be clear about the standards. You should know what the outcome should be. But let them, if they're losing altitude and you have safety margin for yourself, and as an instructor, don't just try to take control, let them figure out the way, let them figure out how the airplane is behaving, okay? Second, if the student, you think the student is just performing but he does not have clarity in the concept, you should give variation, okay? You should give variation, so then student will know the difference and he can perform better. And that's how you correct the errors. Now let's do, so evaluation of student is done. Now evaluation instructors and exam. As an instructor, you need to make sure the student is ready for the exam. Certain exams, certain practical tests will need your endorsement. So make sure you follow FAR-AIM, follow Advisory Circular 6165, the steps, also reference to PTS, and make sure that he's ready with his knowledge for a written or practical test. For written, you follow Advisory Circular 6165 for endorsement. The endorsement is valid for 60 days, and unfortunately, if the student fail for any reason, then you have to retrain in the missed areas. Give him training. Again, you have to follow the guidelines and give the endorsement. Make sure he's ready and pass. Make sure the knowledge is accurate. And for practical test also, FAA depends, or DPE. Everybody depends on instructor. You are the first person to know his capability. He's ready. And for example, for some reason he's not ready, and you already endorsed him. It is logical for the FAA or DP to keep you accountable because they are dependent on you. You spend a lot of time with student, so make sure you are evaluating right before endorsing your assessing, and you're evaluating and making sure that his skill is there. He is prepared for practical tests. So when you endorse, as per the 6165, follow the standards, and you need to go online on FA website to fill up a form for the endorsement for the practical test, and you have to sign his logbook. So the both dates should match. But there is also another separate lesson for the endorsement, but this is just a general idea about the exams and practical test. Then the last one is your professional development. Even you pass your CFI, when you pass your CFI exam or you're a CFI, that does not mean that you're done with your studies. As an instructor, as a pilot, you always keep learning. There are changes in aviation for safety procedures, so we need to keep continuing our education. We need to keep reading. We have to keep following FAA website. We can use government whatever they're offering to keep our knowledge updated, their website, their seminars, safety seminars, articles. We can take help of the community college or university. We can sign up for the course or class and get the help from there. Um, and we can also sign up for the commercial organizations like magazines or some email, some articles. We can subscribe there or pay money, whatever is available, because those industries are very professional and they keep up with the knowledge. So if it is interesting, is helpful for seminars, we should sign up for that. We should also take industrial organization help. You should sign up for we can add ratings on your certificate like seaplane, tailwind, uh, airplane endorsement. So we can do that. And we can also subscribe, as I said, printed material for magazine like AOPA, airline, or we can sign up for different organization where they send circular some books which are good for your knowledge. Keep up so you don't miss anything. So continuing education, professional development is very, very important. So this was chapter 3. We talk about instructor responsibilities and professionalism. All the points as per the PTS I tried to cover. Hopefully that helps, and all the best. Please read the aviation instructor handbook, and hopefully it helps you. Thank you. Have a good day.